let's talk about a better way to underpaint our minis. Hi, I'm Tony and welcome to the Hangar Bay. When it comes to painting armies quickly, you really can't argue against underpainting and then topping that off with a transparent color, such as a contrast paint, speed paint, one-step cuttlefish colors, or any of the other lines out there. This process is commonly known as slap chop. And God, I really hate that name. Anyway, the biggest issue I have with this process is using blacks and grays in our shadows. When we use those blacks and grays in our shadows, they become desaturated. And there's no life in them. So today we're going to look at how we can bring some more color and more life into the shadows of our underpainting minis. Let's take a look. Alright, for this project we are going to use two identical Dragonborn warriors. I got these from a Kickstarter a couple of years ago. First one's going to be primed in black. The second one will be primed in white. Now the primers that I use are Mr. Hobbies, Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500 in both black and white, thinned 50-50 with Mr. Color Leveling Thinner 400. I find this to be the best primer for ease of use. It cleans up well, goes down super flat and durable. It sticks to all types of plastics, metals, and resins, and is extremely scratch resistant. So now we're going to move on to the white. And you're going to see in a moment why we're priming this one in white as opposed to black. Here we go, almost done. All right, and there we go. So for the next step, we're going to be airbrushing neutral gray and bright neutral gray over the top of the black. I want to take a moment though and talk about this. This is my new favorite airbrush thinner. This is Ammo's Atom Thinner and Cleaner with Retarder. This is a fantastic thinner for your acrylic paints. The retarder helps prevent tip dry, which means fewer clogs, less spattering while you're airbrushing. I cannot recommend this product enough, and no, I am not sponsored. If you're listening out there. Anyway, we're going to mix this about 50-50 with our neutral gray. There we go. Just mix it right in the airbrush. Make sure we get a good consistency. We're looking for any clogs or any clots. And we're going to do this at about 90 degrees perpendicular to the top of the model and up. So we're going to go from a straight on up to the top, leaving the deepest shadows black. And cleaned out the airbrush. We're going to do 50-50 again now, this time with bright neutral gray. Now this one I'm going to need a little bit extra because my bright neutral grain was all the way at the bottom and it was a little bit thick. So we're going to go ahead and just add some more thinner, mix it up real good, and then we're going to come down from the top. Just a straight down airbrush. There you go. Well, a little bit more I need to do, and I will remember to keep this on camera going forward. There you go. Nice airbrushed zenithal. So now we're going to move on to the other one. And this other one, what we're going to do is we're going to use Pro Acryl Dark Purple. We are going to airbrush this over the entire model the same way we did essentially our black or our white primers. This is going to serve as the base coat of our underpainting going forward. So you want full coverage. Just treat this like you would black on a traditional zenithal. You want full coverage, especially from underneath. And I promise you, I will figure out that I need to keep this on camera at some point. All right, next we're going to mix up some faded purple. Because this is an undercoating, if I were doing regular airbrushing where I wasn't going to be putting another color on top, I would mix a little of the dark purple in there. But since this is for a zenithal, I'm going to go ahead and just go straight to the faded purple. Once again, from the 90-degree line, perpendicular, up through the top. Now for the fun part, we're going to grab pale yellow. And we're going to use this for our brightest highlight. This is going to make for a very, very interesting tone because A, it is the polar opposite of purple on the color wheel, right? So you're going to get maximum contrast there. But it's also very, very bright. So you're going to get both tonal and hue contrast on this model. And I swear I will keep on the camera one of these days. There we go. And there's our final piece. So now we're going to move on to the dry brush. You can see I've got a large dry brush. I'm using my Artist Opus large dry brush here. And I'm going to dry brush bold titanium white on the black and white model. Get a little moisture in my moisture pad there and put that onto my brush. Work that in. And just go to town. We're going to dry brush from the top down, hitting the highest points and those raised edges. We all know how this goes at this point. We want to keep the brush from going into the deepest recesses. And we're looking to just add that bright white to provide our highest highlights when we've got our transparent color on top. A little bit more moisture and just doop-de-doo. Work it into the brush. Work it around the model. Get it on the face. We're just trying to pull out detail, and I do apologize. The autofocus on my camera could not decide if it wanted to be on the model or on the palette. There we go. That's a nice contrast. Beautiful black and white. We'll spin the palette around, and now we're going to grab bright. Oh, no, first we're going to clean our brush out. Then we're going to grab our bright pale yellow from Pro Acryl. There it is. Bright pale yellow. We're going to drop it down onto our palette. Work it into our brush. And now we're going to, oh no. So I hadn't let the faded purple or the yellow dry enough. So we're going to clean out our brush, hit it with a hair dryer, and now we're going to come back over the top with this bright yellow. You can see almost how muddied that first airbrushed pale yellow became. And that's because of the nature of purple and yellow, with them being complementary colors on the color wheel. They don't like to mix so much. But that's actually good for us. The bright pale yellow has enough opacity that it's going to sit on top, and you'll see when we're done here, we're going to have a nice, crisp, almost white looking top layer. Do. Just going to dry brush. Happy little dry brush. Hit the face. Just pick out the details. You'll notice I never go to a smaller brush to get in on the chest or on the undersides. This is meant just for where that brush can reach the highest of highlights. Get the knees, get the arms one more time, and there we go. Nope, I gotta hit the boob. All right. So now we get to the fun part. You can see the difference between these two. The black and white one does look great, but it looks black and white. Whereas the yellow and purple, it's got a little something going on for it there. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to grab our Carmine Dragon Speed Paint. We'll start with the black and white. I'm going to use this paint unthinned. The only thing I'm going to use, I have a well of flow improver for my size 4 Phalanx Kolinsky brush from Game Envy. And I'm just going to use that to evenly spread the red paint all across this model. And yeah, I will realize just how far off center of camera I am eventually. I promise I'll get better at this. The goal here is for nice even coverage across the entirety of the model. Where we see pooling, we are going to sop that up with our brush and transport that to other points on the model. But all we want is nice, crisp, even color across the model. And you can see, before this dries, you can see just how opaque this paint looks, but don't let that fool you. This is going to, as it dries, it's going to move that pigment around, and you're going to see a lot more of what's underneath. Right now you've got a lot of light just reflecting off the water that's in the paint, which is what's making it look more opaque than it's going to end up looking. There we go. Tony finally realized where his camera was. Alright, so just go ahead and finish up. Get that little thing on the head. You missed some toe spots there. There you go. Get the toes. I'm not going to get the toes. Alright, let's grab the other model. Alright, once again, same technique, a little bit of flow weight on the brush. And we're just going to distribute the paint evenly across the surface. We're not trying to flood the surface, but we are trying to have a nice, thin, even coat across. And you'll notice, even at this stage, how much more vibrant that red looks on this model. Now, one thing I'm not trying to tell you here is that black and white underpainting is evil. What black and white underpainting is great at is providing a more desaturated tone. It's great when you want to set that deep, dark mood, when you want that brooding, grim, dark feeling of a model. But when we're trying to work with brighter colors and more transparent colors, like reds, yellows, and oranges, putting black down underneath just desaturates it, and it provides a great grim dark mood. But if you want something that's going to be punchy, if you want it to pop, starting off with black is not going to get you there. Black is going to desaturate, and it's going to bring it all the way down. And even if we're not using speed paints, even when we're using your traditional opaque colors, you have a harder time covering with covering black than any other color. And so if you're going for something punchy, you're not going to get it with a black undertone. You can already tell which one was undercoated in the purple and yellow. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with using black, gray, and white as the underpainting for your minis when it's called for. Those tones allow for some awesome desaturated colors in your shadows that really help to set a specific mood. But when you want bright, punchy colors, especially when dealing with more transparent colors such as red, yellows, and oranges, turn to a white primer with a more colorful undertone to it for your base color. I think you'll like the results. I think the difference is plainly clear here. So if you've liked what you heard, go ahead and give us that like, follow, that subscribe, and know that you can find me live on Twitch Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you join us as we go on to paint the galaxy. Take care.